This story is fictional and for entertainment only. Any resemblance to real events is dramatized. Well-known celebrities who celebrated and spent time with Diddy reportedly include at least 100 or more who will be identified in his court case. These bright stars, some of whom we mentioned yesterday, have a new addition to Night Iron. Man, however, we still don't understand the relationship or how all these celebrity faces and names will connect to P. Diddy in his human trafficking case. This is what they're all panicking about, and there are many unnamed individuals we're just discovering during jury selection. Let me tell you, the internet is going wild, making these connections. Which bright star had what relationship to Diddy? And how might that appear in the trial? The potential jurors are being questioned about their personal connections to or opinions of various celebrities without explanation why, at least not yet. The guessing games have started, my friends. Everyone is trying to link the dots between the shiny celebrity names and the troubled rap star Diddy and the criminal charges. Another person testified that she did it because she was 22 or 21. She was young, she didn't understand better, and she wanted to satisfy Sean Combs. She asked me to explain what happened to my friends. And I don't care how much time has passed since I spoke to them. They will forever be my friends. Tim Durant and Lamont Rucker were different after they appeared on camera with Tyler Perry. People have been discussing my romantic life, so let me be clear to everyone. I'm not homosexual. For those spreading gossip about Yala Kelly claiming she discovered I'm gay, that's completely false. But now, like smoke, their names are floating around the courtroom. Oprah Winfrey and Tyler Perry are two people with perfect reputations who have been spotted at the gatherings mentioned in the reports and connected with a lifestyle that is now being exposed in court. This person was precious to me for years. Rumors are no longer important here. Testimony is what matters. It involves NDAs, non-disclosure agreements. For decades, powerful people were protected by a system, and the individuals we thought were just passing by might have been much closer than everyone understood. Let's start. Jaguar Wright made a claim years before the Diddy trial that was mostly ignored. Tyler Perry attended the parties, she claimed, not once, not casually, but as part of the scene. In her own words, "I saw you at a Diddy party, Tyler, and you were having a wonderful time." Most people at the time dismissed it as just another crazy Jaguar rant, yet another unproven claim. However, her story gains new significance now that Diddy's trial is happening and those same parties are being described. In detailed legal testimony, the trial includes testimony from women who claim they were drugged, recorded, and forced to sign NDAs after freak-offs hosted by Diddy at isolated homes and private estates. The first major witness, Cassie Ventura, described gatherings where women were given medications, asked to perform, and watched by security. She explained what Diddy allegedly called freak-offs, setups with candles, medications, secret recordings, luxury hotel rooms, and male escorts. These weren't spontaneous meetings, Cassie said. They were always one-sided, planned, and controlled. It basically involves hiring an escort and creating this experience so I could perform for Sean, she said. It involved Combs being able to watch me with the other person and actually direct what we were doing. Eventually, it became like a job for me. She broke down when asked if she had enjoyed those moments, saying only because I got to spend one-on-one time with Combs, and I truly loved him. Another person testified that she did it because she was 22 or 21. She was young. She didn't know any better. And she wanted to please Sean Combs. Another woman testified publicly that she woke up in Diddy's guest room in Miami, bruised and unable to remember what had occurred. She claimed she was given money in exchange for her silence. She lost her job at a company connected with Revolt TV because of her refusal, according to testimony from a former executive assistant. These payments were routine, according to testimony. Drug distribution and recorded intimate acts were specifically included in several of the NDAs, including one concerning Turks and Caicos. These are not rumors. The evidence is federal. Jaguar's statements from that time about seeing Tyler Perry at one of these gatherings, about seeing her male friends return after their collaborations with him, and about being silenced for speaking up suddenly make sense. Tell me what happened. To my friends, and I don't care how long it's been since I talked to them, they will always be my friends. Tim Durant and Lamont Rucker were not the same after they went on camera with Tyler Perry. Someone else came forward to support the same situation, but from a different angle. Just as Jaguar's warnings began to sound less like rants and more like evidence, actor Christian Keyes shared a video on December 16th that changed everything. He didn't mention names in it, but he didn't need to. He claimed that a male entertainment figure had mistreated him, someone he formerly considered a brother, mentor, a powerful, well-known, and highly respected individual. Fans immediately identified Tyler Perry as the person. This person was harassing me for years, Christian had previously called Tyler a mentor and shown his respect for him. He had helped open doors before, suddenly accusing an unnamed mentor of serious abuse and claiming that his lawyer had the complete breakdown, the identities, the video, and the evidence in case something happened to him. His exact words. Family members and my attorney have the proof. If anything happens to me, that information will come out. The response was immediate. Perry's social media accounts were flooded by fans. Perry, who is usually quiet about online rumors, broke character as accusations grew. He addressed the allegations about his sexuality in an unprompted statement, claiming they were a complete lie. People have been discussing my relationship status, so let me make it clear to you all, I'm not gay. For those of you spreading rumors about Yala Kelly claiming she found out I'm gay, that's a big lie. However, Christian's claims had nothing to do with sexuality, they dealt with abuse and power. The deflection raised more questions than it answered. This happened while Diddy's trial was already proving that forced silence, manipulation, and NDAs existed. Christian's video wasn't isolated. The reality Cassie was testifying about was the same one it existed in. Furthermore, it no longer felt like separate incidents because Christian and Jaguar were both drawing invisible lines around the same culture. It seemed to follow a pattern. Perry's real name wasn't used by the Boondocks. But the message was clear. A powerful man who demands silence in exchange for manipulation, using his fame and religion. It no longer seems like humor when people watch. It again, in light of everything we've learned from this trial, it appears to be a warning. Tyler Perry isn't the only person whose reputation is crumbling. Another person stays silent during this entire situation. Someone who has always had significant power and is even better at controlling damage. But truth-telling, empathy, and healing have been the foundations of Winfrey's brand for decades. However, the individuals she has supported, many of them, are now being investigated, tried, or shamed publicly. She invited Diddy onto her platform when he was at his peak, smiling throughout interviews with softball questions. There was no mention of the years of rumors that had previously followed him. Word is that she also attended some of Diddy's strange parties. She did more than simply support Tyler Perry. She and he became partners in business deals, shared events, award speeches. They were a powerful team in the black entertainment industry. Furthermore, she has yet to address the accusations made against him. However, that behavior isn't new. Look at her history. She and Harvey Weinstein had a strong relationship praised. Him with admiration, took photos at events. To be honest, they seem to be the closest of friends. The fact that Oprah didn't get a Golden Globe nomination is shocking. Thankfully, she got the Screen Actors Guild Award, which reflects more of the Academy. She got the British Academy Award BAFTA last week. However, she said very little when his crimes were made public. No sit-down interviews with his victims. No documentary, just silence. Talk about what's happening with Harvey Weinstein. I know you posted on Facebook already, but you haven't really spoken publicly about what's going on. I think I'm always trying to look for the rainbow in the cloud, whatever is the silver lining. She then featured the healer John of God in her spiritual programming and promoted him. One of the most famous spiritual healers in the world rarely talks to anyone on camera. John of God agreed to sit down with me under a mango tree on the grounds of the casa. Later, he was found guilty of running a huge trafficking ring. Although she distanced herself, she never explained why she had initially given him a platform. Winfrey is nowhere to be seen while Diddy is currently on trial. She made a living by bringing suffering to light and giving sufferers a voice. However, when her friends are being accused, she stays silent. She doesn't speak until it's safe. Guilt by association isn't the point. It's about a pattern of being. silent when authority is in danger. She has conducted interviews with abuse survivors, but she disappears when the accused is someone she has photographed with, smiled next to, or partnered with. There's more to this trial than Diddy. It's about the individuals who stood with him during his actions and how long they stayed silent. According to Cassie's testimony, Diddy had complete control over her life, her career, her money, her apartment. "I cannot leave," she said. That connection is more than just bad. It's a system, a confined space designed to keep people trapped. Such systems need assistance to function. They need friends, security, lawyers, helpers, and yes, silence from the top. Winfrey and Tyler Perry were part of that environment, not only publicly, professionally, or socially. Everyone else's reputations were cleaned up by theirs. According to Jaguar Wright, Tyler attended those gatherings. Christian Keyes said that a major figure in the entertainment industry mistreated him, previously called this person a mentor. Although he didn't specifically name Tyler, it was clear from the timeline, the relationship, and the public's response who he was referring to. Tyler only denied rumors about his sexuality rather than making a statement about the accusations. He made no reference to Christian. He made no mention of the mistreatment. He only resisted rumors rather than the allegations themselves. Winfrey remained silent throughout. It's not new either. She made a living by exposing injustice and abuse. Until her own circle came under investigation, people are testifying because they were once terrified. Furthermore, they're not asking for permission. This has nothing to do with cancel culture. It's about responsibility. And the silence is part of the story. Right now, this experiment showed the extent of the control. We may learn who else was helping in its concealment from what follows. TD. Jakes is among the celebrities who have publicly criticized Diddy and tried to distance themselves from the spotlight. Days after it was made public that Diddy had rejected a plea deal to turn on his co-workers, Dallas Bishop T.D. Jakes stepped down as the Potter's House megachurch's head pastor. T.D. Jakes is trying to explain why he frequently attended Diddy's parties. Nobody's believing it anymore. People get on my nerves talking about who you should be seen with. I do homeless shelters. I walk in prison ministries. I deal with murderers. I deal with rapists and killers because they're our children, our sons, and our daughters. A shock. Too many in the religious community. Bishop T.D. Jakes has been a spiritual advisor to presidents and a religious voice to thousands. Now he says it's time to pass the responsibility to a new generation. From the pulpit Sunday, Bishop T.D. Jakes announced that he was stepping down from leadership at the Potter's House. That glitter is white, I like to do... ... Nearly a year ago, Cat Williams called out T.D. Jakes' hypocrisy and said he would be going down with Diddy. His claims are now gradually being proven right. In Lil Rod's case, in which Lil Rod accused Diddy of using T.D. Jakes. T.D. Jakes was initially named as an accomplice with Diddy. Jakes' use of religion to improve his reputation. T.D. Jakes allegedly helped Diddy gain access to new victims and was trying to repair Diddy's reputation by using his role as head of the Potter's House. Watch as Cat Williams calls out Bishop T.D. Jakes, and watch as T.D. Jakes and Geno Jennings respond. I came in this business saying I was going to expose. When I talked about Michael Jackson, when I talked about R. Kelly, they canceled me for these things because why would you talk about another black man? Race is not where the line is drawn. It's God's side and the other side, and we don't care. Nothing about the other side, period. All of these big perverts are all catching hell in 2024. It's up for all of them. It don't matter if you're whoever you are, any of them. All lies will be exposed, that's all. And anyone who takes that the wrong way knows why they take it the wrong way. I'm good, I'm fine because I know the truth. T.D. Jakes does not speak against homosexuality. World-renowned Dallas pastor T.D. Jakes is named in a federal lawsuit against musician Sean Diddy Combs. It's filed by a producer that worked with Combs. It discusses how the singer planned to use his relationship with the bishop to soften the impact on his public image of Cassie Ventura's lawsuit. Ventura is a former girlfriend of Combs who filed her own lawsuit in November, alleging abuse, violence, and being trapped. Could this federal investigation have come out of these private lawsuits? Oh, absolutely. If it involves sex trafficking or drugs or weapons or other illegal behavior, Lori Levinson is a former federal prosecutor. Good. They've decided this is worth a lot of resources across the country. So once they've done these searches, they have evidence to follow up on, and if they've got it, they'll move on it. Diddy's protege Usher is also coming under examination. Cassie described how Usher saw Diddy several times and helped him hide his tracks. During her testimony last week, former Danity Kane member Dawn Richard also stated in her testimony that Usher had witnessed Combs pop Ventura in 2010 at a West Hollywood restaurant. Cassie's stomach is being popped by Mr. Combs. He struck her in the stomach when they were having a private talk. Without hesitation, she leaned over and walked away. Richard says she wasn't alone in witnessing Sean Diddy. Combs is abusive. During her second day of testimony in the music mogul's federal trial, the 41-year-old described an alleged 2010 incident of Combs punching then-girlfriend Cassie Ventura at a West Hollywood, California restaurant and said Usher was also a witness to the event. During her testimony May 19th per NBC News, which had a reporter in the courtroom, she said Mr. Combs punched Cassie in the stomach. They were having a private conversation, and then he punched her in the stomach. She immediately leaned over and left. In addition to Usher, Richard, who was a member of the girl group Danity Kane, which was formed on Combs's show Making the Band in 2004, alleged that other musicians, including singer Neo, record executive Jimmy Iovine, and rapper Big Daddy Kane were present as well. When Richard and Ventura got into a car to leave after the alleged restaurant incident, Richard said another physical fight took place between Combs. She continues in her testimony, "We got in the car to head back to her house. Combs grabbed her, slapped her, popped her in the mouth, and told her to shut up. Everyone was quiet." Justin Bieber is another well-known celebrity who is in a similar situation as Usher but didn't hesitate to speak out. When Justin was Usher's age, he was supposedly abused as a child. When Justin was 13 years old, Diddy took him into his care and is accused of abusing him during that time. There is video evidence that some of the top people in Hollywood mistreated Justin. In a statement released a few days after the trial started, Justin acknowledged that he was aware of actual abuse happening behind the scenes. Justin Bieber breaking his silence on the situation after months of speculation over their one-time relationship, his rep telling ET, although Justin is not among Sean Combs' victims, there are individuals who are genuinely harmed by him. Shifting focus away from this reality takes away from the justice these victims rightfully deserve. Bieber's questionable connection to Diddy piqued interest online as the rap mogul's charges for trafficking and racketeering charges, she denies, made headlines. Old clips of the two hanging out while Justin was underage resurfaced. "Let's just go get some girls. Let's go hang with some girls. That's what I'm talking about." Late at night, after the Usher concert, there's also this old Jimmy Kimmel Live segment adding two fan fears about what might have gone down with Diddy. "Me a Lamborghini? Oh, nice. I haven't gotten it yet, though. When is that coming, that Lamborghini we talked about? This last night, the Lamborghini for a day or two, and he had access to the house. And he knows better than to be talking about the things that he does with Big Brother Puff on national television. Apparently some things ... Everything ain't for everybody." This all comes as Bieber's followers are worried for him. The singer's unusual social media posts are causing concern week after week, with believers asking if what he's seen behind the scenes of the industry ... Billionaires like Jay-Z and Kanye remain silent. And Kanye continues to support Puff in the trial. Kanye was also mentioned. Was it because he was involved in the whole thing? This is why Michael B. Jordan, Kanye West, and more celebrities were name-dropped at Sean Diddy Combs' trial. As jury selection in the mogul's trafficking trial got underway May 5th in New York, NBC News reports perspective. Jurors were shown a list of more than 100 names of people and places that may be referenced during the trial, including actors Michael B. Jordan, Mike Myers, and rapper Kanye West. While the mentioned celebrities are not accused in the case, the potential jurors were asked whether they knew any of the names listed and whether it would impact their ability to be fair.
Outlet.
Attorneys did not share an explanation for the list. The names of women who have taken legal action against Combs were also on the list, including his ex-girlfriend Cassie Ventura. His November 2023 lawsuit against the rapper was settled one day after it was filed. Danity Kane, Alam Don, Richard, who accused Combs of assault in a lawsuit filed in September, was also listed. Combs has denied any wrongdoing in both cases. There are now rumors that Diddy lost the protection he had for so long, which is the real reason he was exposed in the first place. When Diddy defied his bosses, they pursued him. You have to admit that it's strange that Diddy's entire life fell apart barely 2 months after he ended his deal with Diageo. Was there any connection between Diageo and Diddy's exposure? Diddy sues Diageo. Diddy filed a lawsuit accusing Diageo of neglecting the DeLeon brand, racial discrimination, claiming they marketed it as an urban product and failed to treat him as a true business partner. Then, in January 2024, they settled out of court. Diageo and Diddy settled the dispute out of court while details still remain sealed. The settlement marked the end of their business relationship. So this is from 2007 till 2024 to 17 years. Could they have protected him? I don't know. Their CEO currently today is Deborah Ann Crew. She was a former intelligence officer in the military. Once an intelligence officer, you're forever an intelligence officer. Who knows what happened that we don't know about? The relationship, we're not going to make any accusations. All we know is, could this have been protection where they were at the parties and they knew things that were taking place and they're like, wait, what do you want to do to us? No problem. Boom, drop the bomb. I don't know. All I'm saying is the timing is kind of strange. Maybe even they wanted to be like, look, we know what's about to be dropped on this guy. We want to have nothing to do with you. We're out. Here's some money. You stay quiet. We'll pay you, but we want to get out of here. The only thing is that the timing is kind of crazy. January 2024, they settle. 2 months later, remember, we're sitting there doing our own business, and you hear, March of 2024, the feds are raiding Diddy's Miami home and his LA home. For what? What happens behind closed doors will decide how this trial turns out. The fact that Diddy's close associates were disappearing like flies when it suited him is not a coincidence. It's possible that Diddy is now being targeted by the same individuals who were eliminating his rivals. Well, Pierce, let me ask you a question from your journalistic perspective. Have you ever noticed how in this industry, people meet their end at the wrong time as soon as somebody else seems like they're having a problem? Have you ever seen that before? Well, there was, of course, the case of one of his other ex-girlfriends, Kim Porter, who died of pneumonia at a very young age. You just referenced your own situation with pneumonia that you believe was deliberate poisoning. Do you believe that may be what happened to her? Why are so many people coming down with pneumonia? Why is that happening to everybody? What is that about? Where have you ever seen this many cases of pneumonia associated with one situation? So, there were rumors circulating, ... I was going to mention this, that there have been rumors circulating online that Diddy may have poisoned Jamie Foxx, which caused his 2023 hospitalization. In his Netflix show, he compared Combs to the devil in revealing his near-death experience after a brain bleed and stroke. He said, I say this all the time. I saw the tunnel. I didn't see the light. It was hot in that tunnel. Thought, have I gone to the wrong place? I looked at the end of the tunnel and I thought I saw the devil saying, come on, or was that Puffy? I'm just messing around, but if that was Puffy, I'd throw a flaming bottle of Johnson & Johnson. Jamie Foxx's admission that Diddy poisoned him shows how much darker this industry is than any of us could have ever imagined. Joe Rogan talked about Diddy's accusations on a recent episode of The Joe Rogan Experience. Diddy, why can't we get anything concrete? All we really have is the hotel hallway beating. That one is in progress. At least I don't know if. But hold on, he's in jail. There's a lot going on. There's a lot of lawsuits. Hey, that one is like we're going to find out. Jamie Foxx just recently said that Diddy poisoned him, and that's it. He got. I've heard that he talked about it on stage. He said he got poisoned. He said, I didn't have a heart attack because of the vaccine. It was Diddy shutting me up. See if you can find that, because he said it on stage. Poisoning people, bro. I think there was some crazy stuff going on, like Cosby, like drugging. Diddy wasn't even. I think it was New York. There's alleged murder. It was a bunch of people that got pneumonia, a bunch of convenient people that died of pneumonia. Jamie Foxx addresses whether Diddy was responsible for his 2023 hospitalization while filming his Netflix special. Jamie Foxx has a Netflix special. They shouldn't care about that at all. Stand-up Jamie Foxx is hilarious. Audience members, yeah. Right? Oh, I see him at clubs all the time working out his material. What is that? Share that. Look at this. The audience members had varying accounts of the comedian's words. Two of them claimed that Fox said Diddy was responsible for what happened to him, that he's the one who called the FBI on Diddy, who's currently in prison awaiting trial on trafficking charges. Diddy has turned down the federal government's plea offer. As part of this agreement, Diddy acknowledged his involvement in drug charges, forced prostitution, and racketeering. Diddy would have received a shorter sentence, but it appears that this will not be the case. Diddy will bring everyone down with him if he goes down. If their names appear on the tapes taken from Diddy's Miami estate, Jay-Z, T.D. Jakes, Usher, and even Clive Davis will all go to jail. Last hearing before Sean Combs' trial starts. When he walked into federal court today, he appeared to be looking for his family. They've pretty much been at all of the hearings that I've been to. There was no presence of his sons or his mother or his sister who had previously been at those hearings. So here's what came out of today's hearing. Number 1. The government acknowledged that they offered Combs a plea deal. Combs acknowledged he has no interest in taking it. They're going to move forward with the trial. They also talked about the jury selection process, which one legal expert I spoke to said is probably the most important thing that you want to pay close attention to before the actual trial starts. And thirdly, we learned that Combs will be adding 2 new attorneys to his defense team. And just to recap, Combs, who is 55 years old, could spend the rest of his life behind bars if convicted. On trafficking and racketeering, he has pleaded not guilty to all charges. Developments tonight involving the case against Sean Diddy Combs, what he decided in court today, and what this now means. The move coming just 4 days before his trial is set to begin. Here's Aaron Katursky. Tonight, Sean Combs makes it official. He's rejecting the government's offer to plead guilty and spare himself the possibility of a long sentence in prison. When asked if he turned down the offer, Combs answered, "Yes, I do, Your Honor," as he stood in a baggy beige jail uniform. But prosecutors did say a plea could result in a shorter sentence for Combs than if he's convicted. The decision guarantees Combs will face trial beginning just 4 days from now. That will test whether one of music's most successful figures used his power, wealth, and fame to abuse both women and men for decades. Combs has pleaded not guilty to racketeering, conspiracy, trafficking, transportation to engage in prostitution charges that accused him of forcing alleged victims into prolonged drug-fueled activity that he called freak-offs and threatening them into silence. Dawn Richards has also testified against Diddy, describing how he beat Cassie viciously and assaulted her in front of her. Richards describes several specific incidents of Diddy's alleged aggression. She said she witnessed Diddy use his closed fists to punch Cassie in the face at a concert in Central Park. Richard joined Combs's group Diddy Dirty Money after Danity Kane disbanded. While on the stand, she told jurors that she saw Combs hit Ventura with a skillet full of eggs at his Los Angeles home in 2009. Richard testified. Per NBC News, he came downstairs asking where his phone was, and he threw her to the ground. He attempted to kick her. She fell to the ground and went into the fetal position, literally trying to hide her head. In addition to striking Ventura with the skillet, Richard said Combs put his arm around the singer's neck and took her upstairs. Before she heard glass breaking, Richard added, "I was scared for her. Was scared to do anything." Richard's testimony in Combs's ongoing trial comes 8 months after she accused the rapper in a lawsuit, subjecting her to years of inhumane working conditions, which included groping, assault, and false imprisonment. The lawsuit, filed in September and obtained by E! News, stated, Mr. Combs frequently held meetings with Ms. Richard wearing only his underwear, despite Ms. Richard's protests and repeated requests for him to put on clothing. In her filing, the 41-year-old also alleged that Combs ordered her to strip down to her underwear, made demeaning remarks about her body, and entered her dressing room unannounced while she was unclothed, and touched her, without her permission under the guise of showing the stylist what to do. Gene Deal has also confirmed these claims. Cassie was groomed by Diddy. He was nearly 40 when he began seeing her. She was only 19. Diddy gradually took over all aspects of Cassie's life: her family, her work, her food, and even her clothes. Diddy was in charge of everything. Diddy would brutally abuse Cassie and take away her home and employment if she did not follow his instructions. If you don't think that dude groomed that young girl, took that impressionable young girl who wanted to be a star, who wanted all, her dreams to come true, and fed her drugs, fed her pills, fed her alcohol, and fed her mushrooms and things that she never took before to mess up her mind, and then put her in a position that she thought that what little that she had, she didn't. Want to lose it if you didn't think that he did something and did that to her? Bro, I gotta say something's wrong with you. Diddy would interfere whenever someone tried to help Cassie. The third victim, a woman named Gina, is still missing. Gina was supposed to testify about the alleged abuse, but she has since disappeared. And whenever these trials come about, the closer you get to the trial date, a lot of things start happening to remove people from the case that are going to strengthen the case for the prosecution. And I feel like we're watching that take place now with one of the male workers who provided tapes to the feds. He's disappeared. And this is similar to what happened in the Tory Lanez case, where the bodyguard whose DNA was on the weapon disappeared. So I expect to see a lot of strange things take place. I expect to see the defense team do a lot of steps to lighten the image of Combs, and we've been watching that take place. From what you know about him, Sean Combs. Obviously, the perception of him has changed dramatically since these allegations were made and since he got charged. I mean, from everything we're seeing now, he seems like a very unpleasant, nasty, violent piece of work. Is that a correct assessment? The assessment is going to be correct. So what I've learned is whenever you see a gentleman like this from wealth and power, whenever they have an addiction to MDMA or the drug E, they call it the love drug. So he's been doing this drug for over 20 years, so that's going to leave. His view twisted when it comes to activity. I believe it's helped turn him into a deviant. These claims are really disturbing and provide a terrible picture of what happens in Hollywood once the curtain comes down. Behind the fame and the money lies a dirty world where people are abused, violated, and abandoned when they aren't needed anymore. Now here's Fox. Go ahead. Rob, what jurors heard today were stories of horrifying physical abuse by Sean Combs. As prosecutors portrayed him as a monster who controlled people and supplied them with drugs, threats, money, brandishing guns during these on-camera performances that he liked to call freak-offs. And in fact, jurors were shown for the first time today that horrifying videotape of Combs brutally beating, kicking, and dragging his then-girlfriend. Then a male escort took the witness stand, and he talked about how he saw firsthand that same young woman repeatedly battered by the defendant, who then tried to bribe a hotel security guard with a stack of cash to get rid of the evidence. In opening statements, what struck me was how the defense attorney openly admitted that her client committed domestic violence, but then tried to argue, well, that's not about trafficking, for which he's charged. Technically, yes, but it is. An underlying crime in the racketeering case against him, which includes kidnapping, arson, crimes, bribery, obstruction, all part of this alleged criminal enterprise run by Sean Combs. His attorney also admitted to the jury that her client's conduct is indefensible and that he may be a deviant. But that doesn't make him a criminal, which strikes me as not a terribly great defense. They're going to be arguing, and they said this to the jury, that the alleged female victims, and there are a lot of them, are all motivated to lie out of greed because they filed lawsuits against Combs for money damages. Well, that is a typical defense tactic. But it is dangerous. It is risky. Jurors might perceive it as the lawyers re-victimizing the victims. The Diddy trial is revealing more and more about a side of Hollywood that many people did not want to see. People are running as names are being dropped, including billion-dollar CEOs, music icons, and megachurch pastors. Tell us in the comments section, do you believe that this is just another well-known scapegoat, or the start of a major Hollywood? Clean up. If you watched all the way through, Ring the bell to ensure you don't miss what comes next. Subscribe for more exclusive updates and like this video.